Hello everybody, it's Hater. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 build video, and the time has come to finish off the trio of my first impression builds. Last time we talked about the Void 3.0 Titan and its ability to create a bunch of explosions and maintain overshield like crazy, and the one before that we talked about the Void 3.0 Warlock and its ability to lock down enemies. Which means today we are going to be talking about the Void 3.0 Hunter, and just like the other two classes, it's pretty insane. So if you guys enjoy the video, give it a like, leave a comment down in the comment section what you guys think about Void 3.0, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow me over at my Twitch for more Destiny content, and there will be a dim loadout link down in the description. But anyways guys, let's get into it. Starting things off guys, let's talk about the new abilities that came to the Night Stalker Hunter. And just like the other subclasses, Bungie revamped the supers and brung them up so we can change them on the fly. For the first super that you guys can choose, it is Shadow Shot Mobius Quiver. Tether foes to avoid anchor, weakening and suppressing them for you and your allies. Fire 2 volleys of 3 void arrows that seek nearby targets. Shadow Shot makes targets volatile and deals increased damage to tethered targets. Defeating tethered targets create orbs of power. This by far, from what I've had my hands on with it, Mobius Quiver is definitely the way to go for boss DPS, because once you hit them the first time, they're marked and they just get chunked from the arrows hitting them. And then afterwards, it does even more damage if you have more arrows. I can't count the amount of times that I one-shot the Hive Guardians in the Legendary campaign with this. It's absolutely nuts, and I highly recommend that you guys use it. But moving on over to the second super that you can use, it is Shadow Shot Deadfall. Tether foes to avoid anchor, weakening and suppressing them for you and your allies, just like the other one. The void anchors fired from Shadow Shot pull targets toward the impact point, which then become traps and wait for their prey. Void anchors have increased range and last longer. I would feel like this is much better in PvP, but having more shots with Mobius Quiver honestly just feels better. I don't know though, playing around with it is definitely going to be a thing I need to do. For the third and final super that you can use, it is the Spectral Blades. Summon a pair of deadly void blades and stalk the battlefield in a veil of shadows. Just like the Nova Warp on the Voidwalker, it is the exact same thing but brung up to the new standard. Another thing to note that Bungie did with all three of the subclasses is that every single grenade is available for each one. So grenades that weren't previously available on the Night Stalker Hunter, like the Scatter Grenade, the Magnetic Grenade, the Axion Bolt, and the Suppressor Grenade are available on top of all of the previous ones. Now that we've gone over the new abilities that came to the Night Stalker Hunter, let's move on over to the brand new aspects in Fragments. Starting things off, there are going to be 3 brand new aspects that we're able to use. Starting off with the first one, it is Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you invisible. Super simple, and just like it was in Destiny 1, you use your dodge ability, you become invisible. Basically becomes a brand new get out of jail free card. For the next aspect, it is Stylish Executioner. If you're familiar with the Flawless Executioner from Middletree Night Stalker before Void 3.0, this is the exact same thing, but changed up a little bit. It states defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens targets. This is literally the exact same thing as Flawless Executioner, but simplified to the nth degree. All you have to do is hit an enemy with an ability, kill them, and all of a sudden you're invisible and you only have to wait 2 seconds to do it all over again. Easily the best tool that the new Night Stalker has, in my opinion. For the third and final aspect that we're able to use, it is Trapper's Ambush. Activate Quick Fall to spend your melee charge and dive to the ground. This is going to work the exact same way as the Shatter Dive on Stasis Hunter. You use your airborne ability and you dive to the ground. But instead of shattering stasis crystals, for Void, you dive to the ground creating a large smoke cloud on impact. Targets caught in the cloud are weakened and allies are made invisible. Your smoke bomb makes nearby allies invisible when it attaches to nearby surfaces or targets. This is definitely going to be the aspect that everyone's going to run in GM level content, because I feel like when you pair this with something like Omnioculus, you just recreate the Omnioculus Hunter from last season, but 1,000 times better. For now though, the build that we'll be using in this video involves using Stylish Executioner and Vanishing Step. Moving on over to the fragments though, there are going to be 14 fragments in the game that Bungie is allowing us to use, but instead of me going over each and every one of them over and over again, to save time, I'm just gonna list them off very quickly. Starting off with Echo of Expulsion, Void ability Final Blows cause targets to explode. Echo of Provision, damaging targets with grenades grants melee energy. Echo of Exchange, melee Final Blows grant grenade energy. Echo of Remnants, your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, Void Spike, and Axion Bolt have increased duration. Echo of Reprisal, Final Blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. Echo of Undermining, your Void Grenades weaken targets. Echo of Persistence, Void buffs applied to you, Invisibility, Overshield, and Devour have increased duration. Echo of Leeching, melee Final Blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. Echo of Domineering, after suppressing a target, you gain greatly increased mobility for a short duration, and your equipped weapon is reloaded from reserves. Echo of Dilation, while crouched, you sneak faster and gain enhanced radar resolution. Echo of Instability, defeating targets with grenades grant volatile rounds to your void weapons. Echo of Harvest, defeating weakened targets with precision Final Blows will create an orb of power. Echo of Obscurity, finisher Final Blows grant invisibility. And Echo of Starvation, picking up an orb of power grants Devour. For this build though, after listing off all of them, we're going to be using Echo of Persistence, so void buffs applied to us, mostly our invisibility, are going to be lasting longer. Then we're going to use Echo of Undermining so our Void Grenade weakens targets and procs Stylish Executioner. Then we're going to use Echo of Expulsion to cause all of those enemies to explode after any kill with a Void ability. And then finally we're using Echo of Provision so damaging targets with grenades will grant melee energy, so we gain our smoke bomb back even faster. Overall though guys, these are the fragments that I personally enjoy using with this build, so feel free to change them up to whatever fits your needs. Now that we've gone over what all of the abilities do, the new aspects and fragments, let's talk about the mods that make the build. And the first thing we're going to need for this build is at least 1 armor piece stasis, 2 armor pieces void, and 2 of them solar. Starting off with my helmet, I have it as stasis and I'm using elemental time dilation at the end so that every single elemental well mod that has a time-based benefit can be stacked on top of themselves, increasing their time-based benefits. For an example, in this build we're using Well of Life and Well of Tenacity, so Well of Life naturally has 10 seconds of healing, but with elemental time dilation it makes it 13 seconds, and the same thing goes for Well of Tenacity. Instead of 5 seconds, it's gonna go to 9 seconds. And then next to it, I'm using a rocket launcher ammo finder. Moving on over to the arms, I have these as void also, and I'm using Reaping Wellmaker. After activating your class ability, your next weapon final blow on a combatant spawns a void elemental well. This is gonna be the main mod that creates our void elemental well. Because of how short the cooldown is on dodge, we can just dodge, gain invisibility, and get a kill to get our void elemental well. Next to it though, I'm using 2 bolstering detonations so that dealing damage with our new grenades are going to give us class ability energy. Moving on over to the chest piece, I have this as void also, and it's going to be where my Well of Tenacity is. Picking up a void elemental well is going to reduce the damage we take from combatants for a short period of time. Its damage resistance was just changed with Protective Light. Now instead of Well of Tenacity giving 10% damage resistance for 5 seconds, it's gonna give us 50%, making it our new main source of damage resistance. Next to it though, I'm using a void resistance mod and the brand new thermoshock plating, which will reduce incoming solar and arc damage at the exact same time, allowing me to take 25% less damage from 3 different element sources. Moving on over to the boots, and this is going to be the exotic of the build. It is the Orpheus rig, and it allows us to do some pretty insane damage with the Mobius quiver. Its perk, Uncanny Arrow States, provides ability energy for each target tethered by deadfall anchors. Mobius quiver has an additional shot. As I stated earlier, Mobius quiver deals more damage every time you hit an enemy after they're marked with the Mobius quiver. So having a 3rd set of arrows to fire at an enemy is absolutely insane. On it though, I have it as solar, and I'm using explosive well maker so that explosive damage kills that we get create a solar elemental well. Then I'm using both the artifact rocket launcher scavenger and artifact glaive scavenger. Finally, moving on over to my cloak, I have it as solar also, and I'm using well of life at the end, so picking up a solar elemental well will give me constant healing. Then next to it, I'm using the brand new suppressing glaive mod. What this does is allow our glaive to suppress enemies after hitting them. This is borderline broken when paired with this build, because if you've already noticed from the background footage that was playing earlier, every time I get a kill with the glaive, enemies are suppressed and proccing Stylish Executioner, basically making me invisible all the time. So if you guys have a glaive, I highly recommend pairing this with your hunter. But anyways guys, that is going to be the build for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about the build down in the comments.